Okay, so I'm just gonna go over quickly how to use MyFitnessPal so you can do that. It'll help you keep track of your food and your calories specifically so that you're sticking to the amount that you need to be eating to reach your goals. This is what it looks like right here. You can go into the App Store and download it for free. And mine is already loaded, so it opens straight up to the home page. Down here we have the home page, which is just this. You can see your friends' updates and stuff here. And it has a link to the MyFitnessPal blog. Sometimes there are some good articles on there. I don't read them very often, but they're there. Up here you can change this, but I keep it so that it just has a nutrients remaining summary. So my carbs, fats, and proteins, and then total calories left over. I don't look at the calories so much because sometimes MyFitnessPal can estimate calories, and so the calories are a little bit off. So I usually just pay attention to these numbers, and these are still just averages. If you're going to keep track specifically of decimal points and such, then there's another page for that. So I'm going to go down here, to the diary tab. In the diary tab, I have mine set up so that it has breakfast, snack 1, lunch, snack 2, dinner, and my supplements I track separately. You can change those meal names on myfitnesspal.com. I set it so that I have 5 because that's usually about how many I eat, 4 or 5 meals a day. I recommend eating at least 3. 4 is more optimal if you're doing training, just so you can have meals before and after your workout, specifically for pre and post workout fuel. And recovery, let's see, I already tracked my breakfast on here, but I can show you how to do that. So my breakfast meal is here. If I want to add a food, there's an add food button, and then up here you have recent, frequent, my foods, meals, and recipes. Recent, at first you won't have anything there, but as you log things, the recent input foods will start showing up. Frequent is nice because if you eat something regularly or often, it will add it to that. My Foods is a good one if you are ordering a certain thing at a restaurant, or you find something that you can't search for in their database. You can add your own nutritional information there. Meals, you can actually save. So if you have a turkey sandwich and you do the bread, turkey, spinach, mustard, and input all of those separately, you can actually save all of them as one meal. So you could, instead of having to put those in every single time, save them as turkey sandwich and be able to just say input turkey sandwich instead of each one individually. I don't use that one very often, occasionally, but not often. And then recipes is a nice tab. I have a few in here where you can actually create your own recipes, and then they'll save them into your recipes here so that your recipes are measured out and the calories are accurate for those. I use that occasionally, more often when I'm doing a contest prep, so that everything's really accurate instead of just estimating stuff. Up here is really nice. You have a barcode scanner. Let's see, I've got this right here. And you can use that to scan. Oh, it's not working. There we go. Scan a barcode for something that you have and don't want to search, it's quick. Then down here, there's this settings option, and I use this occasionally, mostly to, oh, whoops. So if I go back to recent and go back down to the settings thing, I use it here to either display recent meals from that specific meal or all meals. Sometimes I'll eat something from one meal. So I'll eat something that I usually have for breakfast for lunch, and then I'll switch it to the all meals so I can find it more quickly. And then this little check mark button makes it so you can select more than one option from the list and save them all at once instead of having to go back into the search over and over again to add another item. So that is how you use those. And then down here, this nutrition button is really good. It gives you 3 different options. So calories, it'll show you a pie chart of your calories spread out through the day. So I've obviously only eaten 2 meals today so far. 64% of my calories came from my snack, and 36% of my calories came from my breakfast. And then if you scroll down, it has total calories, net calories. I don't pay attention to net calories. And your goal calories for the day. That's something that I'll show you how to set in another video. Here it'll have everything listed from highest to lowest for calories, so you can see where the majority of your calories are coming from. Then this is the page that I use the most, nutrients. And if you have your macros, which I'll also go over in another video on how to calculate those, if you have your macros, it'll show your goal number here, and how many you have left, and how many you've consumed. And I usually only on this page I pay attention to protein, carbohydrates, fiber, fat, and then down here with the vitamins and minerals, I pay attention to vitamin A and vitamin C. And my calcium, iron, I always have a hard time getting, so I do supplement that, but I try to hit as many of these just through my food before supplements. That's why I have my supplements listed at the end of my diary. So I try to get everything through food first, but I also take a multivitamin just to cover my bases every day. And from this page, you can actually click on any of these, and it will show you where you're getting the majority of that specific carb or macronutrient from. And it'll say, again, highest in protein, so you can see where you're getting most of your protein from, or carbs or fats or fiber, so that you can find out which foods you've been eating are the best source for that. If you get to the end of the day and you have lots of protein left, you can go back and say, okay, well, what had lots of protein in it that I can eat to fulfill that number there. So that's that. Also down here, if you want to calculate your calories specifically, you have the decimal value for how many grams you've eaten. And if you do the math right, you can figure out exactly how many calories you've eaten for the day. I'll do a video on that as well. So that's the nutrients tab. That's the one I stick to the most. And then the last one here is macros. So it'll break up the percentage of your total calories that go to each macro. Some people like to eat based on the percentages. They'll do 40, 40, 20 kind of thing, but I don't do that. Occasionally I'll look at this just to make sure that there's some kind of balance, but it'll show your percentages out of your total calories down here and break up carbs, fats, and protein so you can see the highest for each one, each value for the day. And that is it's a good page for when you're not paying specific attention to how many calories you're doing, but are just looking to keep your day pretty balanced. I like to just pay attention to the nutrients page for the most part. So there's that, and then progress is here. You can log your weight every day on here, and it'll create this little graph for you. And they have a new function on here where you can take a selfie with your weight for the day. So you can have progress pictures to go along with each weight, which is kind of cool. I haven't used that yet, but it's there. And apparently you can share it here. And then the More tab has lots of things. So Premium is the option with MyFitnessPal. You can pay $50 a year to unlock some of the functions in the app. I pay for it because I like to be able to set my macros to the specific gram, where if you don't pay for it, you can set it pretty close, but it's not going to be exact, which isn't a big deal. But I like to have more control over that. Goals is a good spot. You can add your current weight and your goal weight, how quickly you want to do it, and your activity level. That will give MyFitnessPal something that they can estimate how many calories you should be eating by, but I found that their estimate isn't the best. You can also go in here and set your calories manually, and unless you pay for it, you have to set it by the percentages rather than by the grams. I have it set by grams because I have paid for it. And that is an important page. You can go in there. If you're working with me, I'll help you set that up. Additional nutrient goals, you can come in here and set how many grams of fiber and fat and sugar and the percentages of all of your vitamins that you want to get. I usually just leave these at their basic setting. Sometimes I'll change fiber, but they usually set it at a pretty good spot. So that's a good page in there. And then you can just add fitness goals here. I don't use that a lot, but it's there. And then you can also find the nutrition tab in here, and you can switch days with these back and forth arrows. And then I have never used the reminders tab, obviously, but I think you can set alarms there. This is where you can add your recipes. So if you go into recipes, I have a bunch that I've already added, and up here you can add a new one, and you can actually just input the URL for a recipe that you're building from online, and it does a decent job of adding all of the ingredients for you, but it's not 100%. So I usually like to enter my ingredients manually so I can search each one and make sure it's the right amount without a doubt, I guess. Foods again. This is where you can add foods that you have the nutrition information for and can't find in the database with the barcode or searching it or whatever. And then meals again is where you can create your own meals by smashing a bunch of separate entries into one named meal. I'm trying to see, you can access your friends here and make requests, which is a good thing to know how to do if you're working with me, because we'll be friends on here. Messages, you can send messages, and I don't know if there's much in settings. Okay, so you can, it looks like maybe you can set, yeah, so there are just some things in there. I don't mess around with that a lot, so you can play around with it and see what you want to check out. But for the most part, that is how everything works with MyFitnessPal, and there's not much else to it. Log your food at the end of the day, see where you're at. If you're hitting your numbers, you should reach your goals pretty quick. And if you have any questions, you can post them and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.